Palm Beach Transportation Planning Agency, Palm Beach County Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board, and we are on Zoom. If anyone needs to jump in, let's go ahead and let you know that we'll be conducting this meeting both in person and virtually. There are instructions on how to join the virtual meeting as well as contact information for assistance, and that's all provided in our published meeting agenda. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to join me, please. Thank you so much. Ruth, if our staff could go ahead and call the roll so that we can establish a quorum, please.
At this time, I'm only asking those board members attending in person to respond by saying here when I call your name. I want to remind you to unmute your microphones by pushing the button on the base prior to responding. Alternates, please also state your name if you are attending on behalf of a board representative. Mallory Sennett. Here. Nancy Yarnell.
Nicole Smith here.
Win Dang.
Here.
Mary Lessa Amador is excused. Angela Choice is excused. Robert Goodman. James Green. Basti Amaro. Robin Manuel. Marlene Ramnon. Laura Schultz is excused. Elizabeth Clark.
Present.
Isis Williams.
Here.
Michael Corbett.
Here.
Lou Ferry.
Here.
Takesha Saffold. Chelsea Reed.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Ruth. I think we're all hitting the summertime. You can see it in our attendance. All right. So do we have any modifications to our agenda today?
Yes, Madam Chair, we'll be modifying item 3B to remove Angela Choice's presentation.
Excellent. I understand. Thank you so much. So are there any changes? Let's go ahead and move the minutes. Do we have any changes to our minutes?
No, Madam Chair.
All right. So let's go ahead. I'd love a motion in a second to approve our minutes for February 28th of 2024. Looking for a motion in a second. So just either speak up with your microphone or pop your
Takesha.
card up.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. So Ms. Saffold for the motion.
Second.
Ms. Dang for the second. Thank you so much. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. We'll move right along to general public comments. Instructions on how to provide public comment is included in the agenda. Do we have any general comments from the public that have been received?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, super. Thank you so much. And at this time, do we have any board members who would like to share any comments for anything not on the agenda? All right, lovely. Keep on moving right along then. We will then go to our liaison report. So Brian Ruscher, our TPA Deputy Director of Multimodal, will be going over our liaison report. You can stay right there if you'd like.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Chair. Want to give a warm welcome to our new members. So we have Madalena Creas and Maurice Dorsmond for FDOT and Nicole J. Smith serving as alternate for the Area Agency on Aging today. So appreciate all of their services. Maybe you want to give them just a quick moment to introduce themselves. So I guess Nicole.
Hi, I'm Nicole Smith. I'm the planner at the Area Agency on Aging. I work under Nancy Yarnell and her department. And yeah, that's basically it. I graduated from UF last year, so yay.
Welcome. All right, so moving along, the Commission for Transportation Disadvantage, which is the state organization that oversees all of the CTC and the official planning agencies for the state, will have its next meeting on June 3rd at 1 p.m. You can learn more about what they're discussing. It's largely related to their grants this year, so we provided a grants webpage on the liaison report. The Get on the Bus Challenge will conclude on June 15th. So if you have not tried transit yet during these past 2 months, you have until June 15th. There is a promo code. If you use your Paradise Pass, you get, I believe it's $5 in free fares. And that will get you just a round trip or a full day pass on Palm Trans. So make sure you download your Paradise Pass, use the promo code challenge and that will give you a free $5 in transit fares. The Community Transportation Association of America is going to be held here in June on the 9th through the 12th. We have a number of people who are going to be participating. I believe Elizabeth, you're going to be participating. If you're interested, I believe that there's still some room at the conference. And if you would like, you can reach out to Lou and the TPA staff. We'll get you registered for that as a member of the organization that you're a part of. You will be able to get access to that conference. More information is available in the printed liaison report for that. We also have the Florida Public Transportation Association and the Commission for Transportation Disadvantage are also going to be held here in West Palm Beach in September. So we're very excited about both of those conferences coming to downtown West Palm Beach. They'll be here. They're directly related to all of our roles at our agencies. So if you're interested in either of those, please check out the printed liaison report. Reach out to me. We'll get you information on registering and attending those conferences. Dump to Pump is June 20th. The Palm Beach County and the TPA are both going to be proclaiming Dump to Pump Day on June 20th. That's also the date for our governing board meeting. There is also a transit code, Transit 2024 will get you an additional $5 in Palm Tran app. So if you don't have your Paradise Pass, you can get free transit fares, $10 worth of transit fares today, just with the information that we're presenting to you. So make sure that you get your Paradise Pass app, download it, use the codes challenge and transit 2024 to get your bus fares for the Get on the Bus challenge. As I'd mentioned before, June 20th is a TPA governing board. June 20th is our TPA governing board meeting at 9:30. It'll be both in person and virtually. The board packet is usually posted a week before. And lastly, if anybody would like to schedule a one-on-one meeting with your LCB liaison, you can do so by going to the Calendly link on the screen or printed, or just reaching out to me. Make sure to get you scheduled. So thank you, Chair. That's all.
My pleasure. And I encourage everyone to please come to the CTAA conference. I looked at the agenda and I will be there as much as I humanly can be all day Monday for sure. And then some other days. So if you want to come, we encourage you to be a part of that. Go ahead, Lou.
And then even if you just want to come to go to the expo, you can still sign up. The expo is huge. They'll have buses there. They'll have all the new technology. It'd be really cool to just come out and see if you like. Okay, and it's free. So
It's free. All right. So does anyone on our board have any comments to our liaison report? Elizabeth, what day are you going to be there? Are you there every day?
So I'm aiming for, I believe, afternoon on Monday, full day Tuesday, maybe morning Wednesday.
All right. So we'll be Superman because you're going to be there when I'm not. That's
Oh,
perfect.
okay.
Right? All right. So that's it for our liaison report. Do we have any public comments on our liaison report?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, I love it. All right, moving on to our action items. Today is the day that we will look into approving the CTD trip and equipment rate model for 2024 to 2025. I'm going to invite Lou, our Palm Tran Connection Coordinator, to present on this item for us.
thank you very much. Is it on? Should be on. All right. So thank you very much. Lou Ferry for the record. I'm the senior manager at Palm Tran Connection. So this is one of those things every year we bring this to the board to is this Joanne Auto? Okay, to bring this to the board to ratify our rate model. So for those that might be new, I'll just do a quick little kind of overview of Palm Tran. So Palm Tran Connection is the door-to-door transportation. So that little bus you see there is kind of what Palm Tran Connection, that's what our main type of vehicle we have. And the largest funding source technically would be called ADA. Our ADA service is about 80% of our service. And then the transportation disadvantage is about 15 to 17%, 17%. And then we have our division of senior services model. So the transportation disadvantage rate model means the transportation disadvantage gives us about $3 million a year. Okay, we're supposed to match that by 10%, but in Palm Beach County, we match that by another about $3 million. So to keep it going. But every year, the difficult thing with the Commission for Transportation Disadvantage is they try and treat every county or every CTC the same, but we're not the same. So they created this rate model a long time ago to try and figure out how we should bill. But the interesting part about the billing part is we only get 1/12 of that no matter what. So it really doesn't matter what we bill. It just means the higher the rate we bill, the less trips we bill for. So actually this year, our allocation for the Transportation Disadvantage Trust Fund is actually less than last year because we billed for less trips because the rate was higher. So you can go on to the next one. I know I'm skipping ahead, but I figured I might as well talk about it a little bit. So what's in the rate model? There's the description. Again, we have a required ADA 3/4 of a mile of a fixed route bus. Then we have pretty much outside of that ADA area is what we would call TD. For inside the 3/4 of a mile or where a bus route is, and for someone that is, for lack of a better term, able-bodied, so not disabled, we give them a bus pass, a discounted bus pass. For outside of that, we provide the door-to-door transportation. How rates are established is also in this rate model and really the impact of what these rates are. So next slide. Go. So these are the proposed rates. As you can see, 2021, it was $42.62 for an ambulatory trip. Ambulatory meaning they do not have a mobility device, so no wheelchair. Non-ambulatory was $73.06. In 2022, 2023, it was $39.91 and $68.41. And then in 2023, 2024, which is interesting because the last couple of years we brought it to you guys and had to bring it back because the rates were different and all that. So last year's was $30.01 for ambulatory and $54.44 for the non-ambulatory. So the calculated rate this year is actually $27.67 for the ambulatory and $47.43 for the non-ambulatory. Now, the reason why it went down was we had less trips reported last year. And then when you calculate it, when we use the calculating sheet that we had last year, we didn't include some of the outside funding that we did every year. So the TD Commission they're trying to modify this rate model because it's a difficult rate model. It's difficult to take everything into account. Actually, last year, they did ask us for this year to include all trips. So this year we include all the ADA trips that we did. So 80% more trips were included in the rate model, but not for the billing component. So that's why you see it going down a little bit, which means that this year we'll be able to bill for more trips. So what happens is we get 1/12 no matter what we bill, but now they want us to show everything. So they want us to show all the trips we provided, even if we're not asking for a reimbursement for that. Plus we're showing the ADA trips, plus we're showing the T bus pass trips too, because there's a lot of trips that are being performed on the fixed route as well. So that's why it's lower. We think it's great because we'll be able to bill some more. So you can go on to the next one. I think that might be it actually. The next slide, please. So just the current conditions that again, these are only allocated on the billed trips, the ones that we can bill. We pay per hour. So we have two providers that provide the service for us right now, First Transit and MV, and we pay per hour. Some pay per trip. We found that if you pay the vendor per trip, they kind of start herding cattle and try and put as many people on one vehicle as possible, but service declines because of that. So we actually pay per hour. The emergency contracts are now in effect. I think I'll talk about that a little later. And then the contracted transportation services are estimated to increase about 12.8% when we do go into that new contract. So I think that's it. I think we're just asking for you guys to approve it. If anyone has any questions.
Yeah, we'll start with public comment. Do we have any public comment questions at all?
Yes, we do. James Green, you can proceed with your public comment.
Hello, Dr. Green.
Hello, how you doing? So Lou, I have two questions for you. Can you hear me? Okay. The first question is,
James Green, can you hear us?
yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We'll give him a
Mr.
minute.
Green, you're not coming
Yeah.
through. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Can you hear me? What about now?
Text him.
I can
Yeah,
hear
can
you,
he,
but you
can
can't
he
hear
type
me.
it in if he's unable to speak?
Okay, let me see.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Jay. Hi, Dr. Green. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can kind of hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, he's stuck Charlie, it's Willy Wonka situation. He's in.
It's a
TV.
different participant from the room.
Yeah, can you hear me or no?
Hang on 1 second, Dr. Green. We can't get you. I was literally about to text you, so. let's see.
Okay.
Dr. Green, are you able to type your question into
I
the,
don't,
nothing? Okay. Can you,
no. Just go ahead.
act it out.
Great.
Great.
Yeah,
Sounds like-
just go ahead.
If you can email me your comment, I'll reflect
Oh,
it.
Okay, I will.
Please send an email. Thank you. Sorry for the technological difficulties. We appreciate you trying to zoom in. Any other public comments?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's bring it to the board. Do we have any questions from our board? Any need for clarification or further understanding regarding the rates? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and I am seeking a motion to approve the CTD trip and equipment rate model for 2024 to 2025. I'm looking for a motion in a second, please. All right, Ms. Saffold for the first motion. May I get a second, please?
Isis Williams, I'll second it.
All right, Ms. Williams for the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. The rate is set. We'll move along to our information items. We have our fiscal year community transportation coordinator evaluation. So we're going to have Brian, our deputy director of multimodal again, and Margie, our multimodal planner one, presenting. Just Brian coming up to present on this item. We're excited to hear how it went.
Yes, thank you. It's been a very fast, but very, very good past few months performing the CTC evaluation. I do want to acknowledge our planner one, Margie Tamlin, did an extensive amount of work. She'll be joining me later for part of the presentation. So I'm going to go through a brief introduction for the CTC evaluation. For those of you who are unaware, the CTC evaluation is another one of our mandated required activities that we must perform as a designated official planning agency in partnership with the state. Essentially, this is our evaluation of the services and the operations for Palm Tran Connection. So we engage with many of the local coordinating board members in this process in a variety of different ways. We engage with a lot of the riders. We engage with them in phone calls, surveys, and in face-to-face meetings now. So I'm happy to go over some of that information, and Margie will come up in a moment. So we've already covered the evaluation overview. Given a purpose, we'll go through some of the survey and observations results as found by this group, findings and recommendations, and next steps. As I mentioned before, this is one of our generally required activities from the Commission of Transportation Disadvantaged. There are a number of minimum requirements, that we must perform and evaluate the CTC on. They range from everything included in Florida statutes and the Florida Administrative Code, all the way down to ADA compliance, on-site system observations, reviewing their cost, competition, and coordination. So it's a really broad look at the agency, I would say top down, really to evaluate the services that are being provided to the ridership. What this looks like over time is we essentially are given a CTD workbook. This workbook has not changed in over 10 years. So the Commission for Transportation Disadvantages publishes this book, and they provide it to all of the designated official planning agencies for their use. We start our review in February, and that went through April. During that time, we launched electronic survey that we sent out to folks. We did 2 separate local coordinating board days at the Palm Tran Connection office, and then we had a number of observation rides that we're very proud of, that we would like to continue to expand on and continue to do moving forward. Ultimately, what that equals and ends up with is a publication where we provide the evaluation workbook to you all with a couple of appendices. We try to go above and beyond as best we can to ensure that we're providing the best evaluation possible and providing truly meaningful comment back to the transportation coordinator, because while it's very hard to evaluate a statewide system across the plain, as Lou mentioned, the rural providers are very different from the urban providers, and we have both. So we need to factor that in our recommendations and how we go forward and move about. So that's the approach that we've taken in providing the document to you with the agenda packet. Some of the measures and targets, as we discussed at our previous meeting, have more or less evolved over time. So in 2023, we had 9 observational rides. Our target for 24 was 15, and we ended up with 7. So we're very sorry that we didn't get enough observational rides. These are coordinated with the local coordinating board. So all of us try to make as many rides as possible. Margie took a few herself. We only counted her once. So we do appreciate that, you know, the board members that did get out and ride. I would look forward to you please sharing your experience after this presentation and letting us know what your thoughts were on that. As we discussed at our last meeting, we're going to shift some of these measures and some of these targets to be more percentage based instead of, you know, just a raw number, because things can fluctuate over time. Our board members can go up and they can go down, but in terms of participation, we want at least half of you to be out riding the system in the 2025 year when we go forward. Similarly, for riders called and riders emails, we want to base that number off of the people that we are hearing back from, not necessarily, hey, we made a list and we sent it out to, you know, all of the local coordinating board and moved it forward. So we're going to move that to more percentage-based completion, and we want a certain amount of participation from each of you. So if we give you a list of 20 people next year, and our goal is about 27%, which is what we got about this year as a baseline, you would have to successfully survey 5 people as a local coordinating board member. So that's, we think, is a pretty reasonable number. Next year it's 30%. We try to increase our metrics every year. And similarly for rider emails, we actually got a pretty good response. So if you've done surveys before, you know that getting a 30% response rate on a survey from an audience is hard, but that's what we got this year. And I think we can do a little better next year, get it up to 35%. So we're really proud of that. We're proud of the work that staff have done. We're proud of the work that all of you have done to get the word out and to come and participate with us on the various days and observation rides and conversations with Lou. I mean, it's been a really, like I said, long but very good 2 months worth of work to get this to the finish line. So I'm going to ask Margie Tamlin, our multimodal planner, to please come up and discuss some of the survey results.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. All right, so I'm gonna just, oh, okay, perfect. So just as an overview, I sent you guys a ton of emails and I wanna thank you for your patience with all the emails. We had 7 observation rides taken, 7 attendees at the Palm Beach, or the TPA day at the Palm Tran Connection office. We had about 60 people that we were engaging with. About 22 of those people we were able to get surveys from based on general ridership of the fixed route. We did a lot of Google translating on the fly to get some of those surveys, but it was well worth it to see what people had to say about the system, whether that be fixed route or the Palm Tran Connection. We emailed 546 constituents 3 times to see if they would send something back or complete the survey. And we had 175 people complete the survey. And most people use Palm Tran Connections about 3 to 5 times per week. And the majority of our users are 65 plus. And most people use the service for medical appointments, or work, or running errands, things of that nature, shopping, groceries. But yeah, that's a good little array of what people are using the service for. I asked people to share in one word their overall feelings about Palm Tran Connection. And a lot of people gave some pretty distinct and long-standing sentences. So I think this is a good little blurb and word cloud in regard to what people value with the service. So a lot of people had very good things to say about the service overall, and that it was a lifesaver and very helpful for them to accomplish their, goals and be able to travel to, whether it was medical appointments, work, whatnot. Even Lou's included on there. Yeah. And then I'm going to hand it back to Ryan to complete this here. Actually, 3 things to work on next year and to focus on. To start the data collection a little bit earlier and to survey more people if we can possibly do that. Send out emails and see who we can engage in public, I think is important too. Riders have complained here and there of not having a super streamlined process and not the most, I guess, up-to-date technology to find out where their bus is or van or whatever's coming to pick them up. So maybe that could be helpful in the future, or just some kind of communication platform to convey that information to them. And just more engagement overall. I think engaging people in person is really important and a good way to get some analysis on what's going on. But yeah. And then here's some pictures of the TPA day. We didn't take any pictures the first day, but the second day we did get a picture of, I think, most of the people that came to join us. So again, thank you so much for all your help and participation in the CTC evaluation. I greatly appreciate it. It's been a blast. Thank you.
So moving forward and to the future and some of the things that we found as part of this, in addition to what our survey respondents provided to us and the recommendations for moving them forward. This is all outlined in actually a lot more detail in the executive summary provided in the document for the agenda backup. So these are quick blurbs that I tried to put together for you all to see. So on the left side of the screen, you have the key finding, and on the right side, you have the recommendations. I think what's important to take away from the key findings is that a lot of them are kind of interrelated. So our service costs, we know, are increasing, and they're increasing at a dramatic pace. This is something that Lou and I talk about almost every time we touch base with one another, is just the rapidly increasing costs for paratransit and for TD services. And in that, if we can look at the prospect and what other agencies have done successfully, potentially hiring a travel trainer. There hasn't been a travel trainer on staff for some time. And the purpose and the function of a travel trainer is really to coach people on how to use the different types of systems. So in this instance, and what we think would be beneficial is bringing on a travel trainer to facilitate the transition from Palm Tran Connection to the Palm Tran bus service in a fixed route fashion. And that would bring the cost of our paratransit services down because it is a door-to-door service. And also make the fixed route system more efficient. That bus is going to be running regardless of how many people are on it, unless it's maxed out, in which case, obviously, it can't get more than 55 people, but that happens very infrequently. So as much as we can shift our users to the fixed route system, that is something that we should look into, and getting our fixed route to almost be fed by our paratransit services. Similarly, for us, I think a really good look at an origin destination study for paratransit ridership would help in terms of long-term recommendations. And we've delved into this a little bit based on discussions we've had with the CTC about charter schools. There is a Florida statute which requires charter schools to provide transportation that is non-public in nature to their students. Nevertheless, many of the charter schools are providing for students with disabilities and others, but that impacts on-time performance. There's a limited pickup and drop-off window, which is 15 minutes. Paratransit does not operate in that way. And so there's a split in how the operations of our Palm Tran Connection services and what their users are expecting with how charter schools are supposed to be operating. So that's something that we need to work on and reconcile together with our partners in private education industry and at Palm Tran Connection. We already mentioned about the trip pickup and return issues with respect to technology. We do wholeheartedly agree with our Palm Tran Connection staff that we could absolutely use a technology refresh and a technology rebrand. And I think that this is going to come forward as we look towards the future of Palm Tran Connection and some of the operators that we're working with. We should hear more about that in the next year, I want to say, as we look at the operations, we go after new service providers, and things are worked on over time. But all of this comes together to say that we really need to work closer together with Palm Tran Connection, everything from development all the way to a site that's being redeveloped into a charter school. There's a lot of general need for figuring out the service, making it more efficient with technology, and then working with partners to ensure that it's not going to conflict with either Florida statute or hinder the existing ridership base. You don't want to make someone late for a medical appointment because of narrow windows that are really prohibitive on the timing. So that's first and foremost. And Lou has provided just a few minor tweaks to the document that we'll provide in before we send it up to the CTC about the CTD for its review. But largely the findings in terms of the standards and goals, the CTT is working very hard and is meeting many of its goals in terms of passenger no-shows of less than 5%. I believe that they're at, is it 3%, Lou? I'd have to double check that, but it's very close, if not being met. Call hold times of less than 2 minutes per call to get your ride scheduled. Road calls, which is your services for the actual vehicle itself, and the complaint ratio. We've seen the data from the Palm Tran Connection about our complaints and how well they're handled. We haven't had, I say it every meeting, knock on wood, no grievances that come before this body. There are some goals that we can continue to work on. We've already mentioned on-time performance. That's a very high mark to meet for paratransit based off of how Palm Beach County has developed. We're the second largest landmass county east of the Mississippi, and we only continue to grow. So that makes it very difficult to do door-to-door services. And of course, at-fault crashes will continue to work on that, but that could also be a roadway safety design issue. So if our paratransit vehicles aren't safe on the road, and that's only a small percentage of trips, then our everyday vehicles are probably not safe. So that's a much larger issue that CTC maybe doesn't have as much control over. We're going to continue working with Palm Tran Connection on some of these things. I think we have a little bit more specific items that we can work on as we get through our next year and as we look towards our next steps. So the CTC evaluation is not an action item, but we will submit this to the Commission for Transportation Disadvantage and update them as needed. They'll provide us feedback and report typically within 30 days for this specific item. So with that, just want to say thank you to everybody who participated. So if you did an observation ride, if you came to one of the Palm Tran Connection days where we went and visited very, very early morning on a Monday in April, we appreciate you all for coming out. I want to thank the TPA, the Palm Tran Connection staff for giving us tours on those days and making themselves available, giving us space in their lobby, which, I mean, frankly, we only got to engage with 60 people over those 2 days, but there were probably hundreds that passed through the office just on those mornings alone that we saw. And for them to give us even a sliver of the space that we were able to get was very, very valuable. To the LCB members who participated in any of those events, we really appreciate it. I do want to thank our planner, Margie, for all of her hard work on this effort. Margie gave us some really, really great news this week that she'll actually be joining the Martin MPO as one of their staff members. So we want to thank her. This is one of her milestones, in my opinion, for her to continue to look back and shine on. So we really appreciate her and all of her work. All the emails you got, they came from mainly Margie. So we appreciate her doing some magnificent work over the past few months to get this product across the finish line. So with that, we'll be happy to take any questions, comments, or concerns on the agenda item.
Thank you, Brian. That was a big presentation. Do we have any public comment?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, seeing no public comment, we are going to bring it back to the board. I see our vice chair has Ricardo.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. On one of your slides in the recommendations, I wanted to, I guess, ask Lou the question because of technology, and the technology that we're talking about is maybe shifting to app-based reservation. And I'm assuming that's what it is, because it is a phone call or a request, and then they will call you back and confirm. And on the day of, you get an email, and sometimes it's very difficult for a rider. And as an observer on the observation ride, I found that very, I guess, not as seamless as what's the technology that's available right now. So my question is, since Palm Tran is piloting with Via and the Go Glades, and they have their algorithm is substantial, in my opinion, to what we have right now. Is there any consideration for using them as a pilot on this, because they have the capability of pushing trips onto Palm Tran bus trip if there was any delays or any if it's actually faster? And that's what I think that is part of our goal, is to push more trips onto the bus trips versus having these point to point. So
Sure. So I'll respond. So thank you for that question. So the software we have right now is called Trapeze. Trapeze is considered the best out there, but just because they're the largest and they buy everybody else up. So I do not enjoy using Trapeze. I don't like them because it doesn't do what we want it to do. It's not doing exactly what you explained. So actually 2 weeks ago, I was in Philadelphia, and I went to SEPTA for a peer exchange, which is the paratransit or the transit system in Philadelphia. And they changed from software company. They went to a new software, and to see what they've come up with as what we struggle with every day. I went back to my staff and I said, we are driving a car that does not have power steering or anti-lock brakes. That's the comparison I made, because the technology out there has definitely grown, and Trapeze is kind of sat on their laurels and not really improved. Now, it's difficult to compare it to, bless you, difficult to compare it to an Uber or a Lyft. And the reason why, I've said this in several meetings, actually not here, and other places, is they have like $1 billion behind them. So in transit, we're a little behind the curve in those type of things, and they don't like to share their technology with the public transit agencies, which is actually interesting, because really Uber and Lyft, and they're really technology. They're not transportation companies, so why wouldn't they share that? But anyway, but where we're going is I am planning on putting an RFP out for a new scheduling software. Via, your question about Via, Via is used for the Glades. We don't think Via is working as well as we think it should at this moment for the purposes of the paratransit side and what we need. Again, I think Via's used to having the software, but also providing some trips too. We've seen that they've been more successful when they're providing the trips. And in a more TNC model, a transportation network company model, not a traditional paratransit that we have. But we're looking forward to getting into the ages where just like you said, the goal would be to have an app where if I said I want to go from here to the Kravis Center, and I know it's a short trip, but it would give me, this is how much is it on the fixed route? This is what a TNC trip would do, or here's your paratransit trip, and things like that. That's exactly where I'd love to go. So thank you for the question.
Great answer. All right, we have Ms. Sanat, and then we'll go to Ms. Smith, please.
During the evaluation, the satisfaction survey, you guys added the demographic part about income and age that we never had before. I'm a stranger calling them to do a satisfaction survey. I will think that you guys already have that on file, that I will not have to ask them their age, their income, and all these issues, because we just want to know how happy they are, what issues they are having with Palm Trend, not their demographic. So I was not really comfortable asking people about those questions.
That's good feedback. You know, we try as hard as we can to get, you know, things like language preference and any other information we can. Some of it is sensitive, so we don't necessarily get it from Palm Trend Connection, but we'll work with them to see if we can get a better approach on the survey next year and see if we can get the information for calling, emailing, and some of the background data, so we don't have to ask those questions. That would be a good thing to note for next year.
Thank you, because I'm in 6th board and I do it for most of them. And
Right.
we don't ask for this board. People enjoy telling us that how happy they are with the system. If it wasn't there, they will not have a life. I enjoy talking to them. They never want to stop talking. The drivers, they're very helpful to them. I love doing that part.
Yeah, great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miller. I appreciate you making those calls.
Excellent. All right, Ms. Smith.
Hi, so I had a question about one of the key findings. It was about the travel trainer. Is this something that has existed before? And if so, like what happened to it?
I believe it did exist before. Lou, can you confirm that?
Yes, we had a travel trainer. She actually left to work for one of the providers we had and left the state. It was the choice from our previous executive director to hold that position. I think he was going to use it for something else. And it still sits just vacant right now. So we are looking at a possible new executive director coming within the next month. And I'm hoping to push for that travel trainer. It's traditional, or we should have a travel trainer on staff.
Right.
Absolutely.
And some of the agencies we've heard from, Pinellas Transportation Authority, Austin, what we went to on a peer exchange recently, they have very successful feeder services, and the travel trainer is kind of critical to making that happen, because it makes people, like, you're almost giving like one-to-one customer service about the orientation of the system. And once you train someone on how to do it, it's just that much easier for them to continue using it. And our paratransit and TD population continues to grow, which is, I think, one of the reasons why the service costs continue to escalate so much. But if we can get those users onto the fixed route system in advance, that will help belay some of that cost.
Okay, great. Does anyone want to talk about any of the experiences they had during this process? Whether, and Mallory, that was, I mean, the Senate, that was a lovely comment that you said, really helpful for us for planning for next year. But does anyone want to talk about what they saw?
I had a great experience that people were on time. They were very polite and courteous to me. They took me where I wanted to go coming back. The guy was right on time. It was just a really good experience. So thank you.
Anybody else?
Anybody who participated in the LCB day at the connections?
Sure,
Any,
yeah.
any
We had a
feedback
couple
on
folks
that
that
one?
were
We had a
there.
couple- I know we had a couple of folks there.
I can talk, so I'll. You want to talk about transportation a little bit? We can always talk about that. But does anyone else have anything they want to share during the process of calling people, interactions? Even just a general idea where most people content?
And we know that not every observation ride went well. We're gonna work on
Thank you
that.
so much.
Yep.
Hi, yeah, so I have some comments from Nancy because Nancy did the surveys. She mentioned that she was able to complete 6 surveys out of the total number given. She left voicemails for those who she could not reach on the first call and did a second call for those not reached on the first call. And all of the people that she spoke with were very complimentary regarding the drivers and Palmtran and Userve service in general. The one concern sometimes raised was the amount of time it took for a Palmtran ride. More than one of the people that she interviewed indicated that the best part of the service was allowing the client to feel independent.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. And please thank Nancy for us as well. She was at the day.
Yes,
She came
yes.
to the morning. It was really wonderful.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that said, personally, again, this is the second year that I've gotten to ride, and there was, that people always say that if you're going to share an experience or try to get people to understand something, you should tell a story, right? Stories are always going to go through. And the second person that we picked up, because I got to ride for a little while, which was wonderful, was a gentleman that was picked up from his home in Palm Beach Gardens, actually, and taken to a daycare for older folks, which I don't even know how to properly say that. Adult daycare, thank you.
Program.
Thank you. All right. That's why we have you here. But nonetheless, the interaction that he had with his driver was extraordinary. It was respectful, and my background's physical therapy, so learning a lot about transferring people in and out of wheelchairs 100 years ago, watching this gentleman get picked up, having his wheelchair put in the back with respect and kindness and making sure he was comfortable. But the best part was when we got to the adult daycare, the driver came around. Again, these people are putting in like 5,000 steps and burning 5,000 calories a day because they get in, they get out, they get the wheelchair, all the things. He came around to take this gentleman out, and they were going down the lift, and the sun suddenly came out between a cloud, and the gentleman that was in the wheelchair just kind of looked up, and you could see that he hadn't yet that day been outside or been in the sun. And the driver just sort of looked at him and said, "Doesn't that feel so good?" And they just literally, they took 5 seconds for that moment of humanity. If we don't have anything else, we had that. And then when it was time to go into the adult daycare, he didn't just leave him at the door. He walked him in, waited to make sure that he was accepted into the daycare, and then he drove away. And if that isn't the exact story of how this should go, and it does every single time, I couldn't be more proud to be on this board and to have the opportunity to see things like this. And I saw people of every kind of person that you can imagine was on that bus that day. It was really extraordinary. So, and last year, one of the things we talked about is our county being so different, right? And one of the things that you brought up on your presentation was gated communities. So just the fact that people do go into gated communities to pick someone up, how could you possibly have efficiency within 15 minutes? So it's we have a lot of challenges here. We have people that are taking this TD service from Belle Glade to Tequesta. It's really difficult to try to meet all of these requirements when our county just isn't a puzzle piece that fits into every other puzzle piece. And so I'll just say that I think that the CTCs were doing a great job. Our CTC is doing a great job. Given 5 stars, highly recommend. And it's been great. I do have one question though. which is about charter schools. So in the city of Palm Beach Gardens, we recently approved a charter school about a year ago for Avenir.
Right.
I don't think we did any considerations as to transit disadvantage access for the charter school. So what would you recommend elected officials or people on the school board do to be aware of these things so that, because I didn't know until this moment.
That is a great question. I think that with respect to, you know, if there's an annual review or annual certification that entity has to go through, probably not at the city level, more than likely at the state. I would just keep an eye on it. And I think the issue is largely that if we're dealing with a special needs population for a charter school, right, then that can become a very particular issue. Our drivers, and Lou, you know, feel free to please chime in, correct, stop me. Our drivers on Palm Tran Connection are trained to deal with various particular issues for disability related matters and for certain special needs. But when it comes down to dealing with, let's say, a bus full of children who are maybe on the spectrum or have a sensory disability, that can become a very problematic situation very quickly because we're trying to carpool trips, we're trying to bring them all to the same destination. And a Palm Tran Connection driver is not a caregiver for that population specifically. So I think it's something where if a circumstance does arise, we need leaders in the community to really step up and to make the case to that school that they need to be ensuring that they're in compliance with Florida statutes. Florida statutes require that the school provide its own transportation or that parents provide the transportation, not for the local community transportation coordinator. So there are some statutes that we go back to and that are referred to in the document that give some weight to what's going, but I don't know if there's an enforcement mechanism behind that. That I think is one of the issues that we run into. Lou,
Yeah,
please.
So the Florida statute says a charter must do one of three things: provide transportation on their own to their students, contract with the school board, or contract with someone. So they're not doing any of those things when they put them on the Palm Tran Connection service. The tricky thing is the charter school doesn't really want to care about transportation because it costs money, right? It costs money to provide that transportation. So they say, parent, you figure out how to get your kid here. And then the parent, maybe they can't get them there. So, okay, I have a disabled 14-year-old who needs to get to school. Well, I can't use the public school system because they don't provide the bus there. So they sign up for our ADA service, and because it's within our ADA core area, it is a possible trip. Now, there is a transportation term that we would use as they are trip shedding. They're shedding their trips that they are required to do, and they're putting them on Palm Tran Connection. It's the same thing as dialysis centers. It's the same thing actually with nursing homes as well. They get funding for transportation, but it costs money to provide that transportation. So instead, they look to, who do they look to? The county, of course, and we do it. So we've gotten into this cycle. Actually, when the Ernie Els School for Autism, before they opened, they partnered with the Renaissance School, which was located across from the dog track. Okay. So I went to the meeting that they were talking about. They're going to make this new wonderful school, awesome, probably as high, as north as you can be in the county, right? So, and the principal concluded everything with, don't worry about it. I know it's 25 miles north or 27 miles north, 30 miles north. Just go on Palm Tran Connection, it'll be fine. I said, well, wait a minute. No, that's not the way you do it. But that's their solution. They push it to the parents. The parents say, what am I supposed to do? The problem for us is, as Brian alluded to, was they want the student to get there, let's say 8 a.m. Okay, now all the students that we provide to these specialized charter schools are hand to hand. They have to be hand to hand. We can't just open the door and then they go to the school. It's not like that. So it's not even like you dropping off your child and saying goodbye and they run off. So we have to sometimes wait in the same line as the parents. Also, it's hand to hand. So we drop them off, but they want them dropped off before 8 o'clock, but not after 8:15 because then the student would be late. Well, that's not how public transportation works. That's why that it efficiently and operationally, it just doesn't really work for us. So we brought it up to our assistant county administrator. He tried to meet with the school board, but the school board has enough problems with charter schools already. So I think just last month, our governor gave like $2 million to the L School, and they're going to build a new playground, and that's great. A new playground, all these wonderful things, but you know, the county is paying for all of this transportation. So we do have a presentation that we have for our Board of County Commissioners that we've already provided the commissioners, and kind of, you know, this is what school transportation is costing us. Like, you know, even I think the Ernie Els School, if it's 130 students we take there a day, but it's costing $700,000 to provide. So do we now go to the schools and say, hey, you know, are you going to pay your component, not just $350 is the fare? That's not the full cost of it. So the first strategy I have is school is ending now. I'm trying to contact each charter school and private school to get a meeting with them, but it doesn't seem like that's working very well. But then again, I know it's the wrap up of the school year, so that's probably the reason why. If that's not going to work, I'm going to make my own like forum and invite everyone there and say, if you want transportation, you have to come to this forum and we can talk about it. My first strategy is to explain what we do. I don't want it to be adversarial. I want to explain what PalmTran and PalmTran Connection really is there for. So, you know, educate them first and then say that things are going to probably change, which means not that we're going to deny the trip, but we're not going to, if you want someone there at 9, we might drop them off at 9:15 or 9:20, or, you know, we might drop them off at 8:45. That's acceptable to get someone there at 8:45 for a 9 o'clock appointment, right? I mean, all of us consider that, but, and explain to them that we're not going to deny the service, but we're just going to have to hold you accountable the same way we try and hold everyone accountable for it. And that's the big thing, you know, especially I know Ms. Saffold's here and she's been on vehicles where we have to do this, and we don't want to carve it out to say we treat everyone differently or some people differently. We also want to do the right thing too. We want to get the child to school. We want to get the person home from dialysis, pick them up from dialysis, the nursing homes. So all these different factors, what I'd like to do is eliminate all the sheet of exceptions that I have, try and treat everyone the same, and try and give them the best service possible. So I don't want to be a social service agency. I want to be a public transportation agency. So that's my first strategy to figure it out.
Excellent.
All right, Ms. Saffold. Yes, I know we've been on this topic for a little bit, but I just wanted to add, utilizing the service over the last few years, I have seen some very significant changes, a lot of improvements that have certainly enhanced the lives of individuals who are disabled. You know, speaking more for myself. So with these various options that are now in place, now with UServe and Writer's Choice, the Easy Wallet, and just all of these things, it has made utilizing transportation here in Palm Beach County, it feels good to have these services in comparison to other counties, because I do a lot of traveling and I usually have my eligibility faxed over and so on. And so I compare the difference of the quality of service in comparison to what we have here in Palm Beach County. And I'm someone who's very particular. Lou Ferry may know. And so to see how things are done, of course, there's nothing's perfect. But to see how, you know, the improvements over the years, I've been using the service maybe for about the last 13, 14 years. And it's a wonderful experience. I talk very highly about our service here in Palm Beach County to other like friends that live in other areas. I didn't take the survey, so this is sort of my survey. But I just wanted to make mention that I have seen a lot of growth. And it's sort of like, well, you know, if we're doing well now, how far is this going to go? I know someone mentioned about the travel trainer, which I think will be very vital to our service. I'm someone who used both paratransit and fixed route. And I enjoy having those options when I can to utilize it to manage my time, funding, and just many other things that it's convenient, and also to, you know, help the system as well. So it just all works. I'm just someone who's very happy with the service. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So just one more thing saying, I really appreciate that. And the goal is trying to treat everyone with respect and try and, you know, with dignity and respect. And as I tell everyone that works for me. You know, I want the experience they have with us to be the best experience they've had that day. At least try that. So I do. And one more thing on the charter, just not just like to piggyback on what Brian said. I send out letters, unfortunately, for discipline, meaning someone has to be suspended. And most of them are for the kids that go to schools because they act up on the bus. Like Brian said, our drivers are not equipped to handle that. Think about a bus of 10 high school students. Now think of 10 high school students that have autism or other mental disabilities with no personal care attendant or no one watching them. So it's difficult. That's another thing. So thank you very much.
Fair enough. All right, Ms. Williams?
Yes, thank you. Lou, I like your approach. I appreciate that. And you answered most of my question. I guess the part that I'm a bit, Brian, you said that in state statute, the charter schools must provide transportation, right? Now, can we partner with the charter school when you meet with them? Can we partner to say, per statute, you must provide transportation? But we're willing to provide transportation if you provide a contracted worker to be that person on the bus with the student. Because as you said, you're not a social worker organization or program, and I agree, you provide transportation, but the school is obligated to their ADA students. They're obligated to provide services and accommodation to those students. So if we can probably partner with the schools, so they provide like contracted workers to be on the bus to provide that social work service needed while you guys do the transportation, just a suggestion.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion. The only problem with that is they're coming from all over the county. So we have trips from Boynton coming up to Els all the way in Jupiter and everything like that. But I think from what you said, I can take some things from that where I think we do need to hold them accountable. But even if we can give them old buses that we have, and when we retire the buses, they can do their own. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. But I think first thing, we need to educate them a little bit to say that this really isn't the viable option that you think it is. It's not good. But I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. We'll look forward to more information, how we can work together on that topic, Lou. It's something we'll have to solve.
Excellent. Wow. I love that we bring something new to light every year, it seems like. Thank you, Lou. Well done. Well managed. Let's see. Anyone have anything else? Did public comment come in?
No, Madam Chair.
All right. Yes, I think we all need a travel trainer. I love that. So mine has been the executive director for the TPA. I remember the first time she stuck me on a train 5 years ago. I love it. All right. So that's about it for our information items. We don't have any comments in public. I don't see anything else from our board. Ms. Williams, you're all set. So we're going to move on. We do have a presentation today from Green Cars. So if we could have Dr. Catherine Toms come up, the director of Green Cars. Oh, did I miss something? I apologize. Hang on one second, Dr. Toms.
Sir.
Oh, what did I miss?
It's item.
Oh, Isis is next. I apologize. You've got your card up. I'm sorry, Dr. Toms. We're going to have you wait just for another minute. All right. So one of the, here it is. I did miss it. I apologize so much. We've been waiting for this. So thank you so much. If you would give us the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, we appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And for those who don't know, I'm the DCF Community Development Administrator for Circuit 15. So I'm just going to do a really brief presentation in regards to my role and how that plays into being on the board today. Okay. All right. Let's get started. Yes. So the department's mission is to work in partnership with local communities to protect the vulnerable, right? Promote strong and economically self-sufficient families and advance personal and family recovery and resilience. Within the department, we have our child welfare program, our economic self-sufficiency program, which everyone knows as food stamp, Medicaid, cash assistance, our substance abuse and mental health program. We do have state hospitals, and we work closely with the hospitals for newborn babies that are exposed, and we have adult protective services. So in my role as the CDA, my role is vital in the circuit to develop and maintain community partnerships, integrating the spectrum of community resources into one system of care for the people that we serve here in Palm Beach County.
The CCDA work within the circuit to interface and coordinate with various key stakeholders, organizations, including city and county government. The CCDA promotes traditional and non-traditional partnership approaches designed to integrate services and braid funding sources to maximize service resources and service impact within our community. As the CCDA, I work with the department's program as well as programs in the community to build and support a network of community access points and resources for our community needs. Now, the TDLCB board focuses on the needs of transportation disadvantaged population, specifically our adult population, right? Older adults, persons with disability, persons of low income, and children at risk. This specific population are our vulnerable population in our community here in Palm Beach County. The department's mission and goal is to protect, serve, and promote self-sufficiency, recovery, and resiliency for our vulnerable communities. So in carrying out the department's mission as the CCDA, I sit on this board, not just to sit, but also to serve with this board to ensure that we work together to provide, alleviate safety concerns, assess eligibility, and provide pertinent services to promote self-sufficiency for our vulnerable population. And that's it. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any
We appreciate it.
questions?
That's great. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Public? No?
Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much. So again, for anyone who's new, what we do like to do is every meeting, we have someone from each agency that they're representing, just kind of give an update as to what you do. And we're going to do it all over again in the next year or two because we've had some new people come on and it's been great. It's been an opportunity to have collaborative situations take place even beyond this board, which I think is in the end helping our county. Now, okay, now I'm going to invite Dr. Catherine Toms, the Director of Green Cars, to present on green cars. Hello.
It's just words for back. That up right there.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I would just like to say thank you as a resident of Palm Beach County, because this is my second meeting that I've had the opportunity to listen in on, and I'm really impressed at how well you guys come together and the knowledge you have, the experience and the dedication to really make our county great and serve everybody with the best quality. I mean, it blows me away. I just want to tell all my neighbors about it and tell them they should come down and see what you guys do. So thank you. I run Green Cars for Kids with a small board. And so, first of all, thank you, Brian. And thank you, Elizabeth, for inviting me to be here. So we're based in Palm Beach County, and our pilot program started almost a year ago in Broward County. So what we do is really simple. We address two critical issues today: the maternal health crisis and climate change. So, and we do this by providing free transportation to pregnant women and children who are missing their healthcare appointments. So to their healthcare appointments, but using only electric cars. So, I think there are quite a few people in here who understand this, but I want to cover the bases that childbirth in America and in Palm Beach County is risky for moms and babies. And according to a report by the Commonwealth Fund, American women have the highest maternal mortality rate compared to similar high-income nations. And there are disparities. Black women are more than twice as likely to die due to pregnancy complications than the national average. And for babies, they also face difficult odds. So the US infant mortality rate outpaces similar high income nations as well. And according to the March of Dimes, 2 babies die every hour of every day in America, and about every 12 hours, a mother or a woman dies of pregnancy-related causes. I wanted to bring this to you all because I think it's from the Florida Department of Health. You can get the same map online. And I think this really says it all, that you see it's the same in our county. Those are infant deaths for the 5 years between 2017 and 2021. And there is quite a patchwork. It follows redlining, historical differences that divide brown and black communities from other groups. And as you can see, the Glades, which I wanted to point out, really stands out. And it's mirrored also for pregnant women with their morbidity and mortality. So just a couple of statistics for you here. So the maternal death rate in Palm Beach County was almost 23 per 100,000 live births. 3 of those deaths were in the Glades. And in 2019, in the Glades, the death rate was almost 15 per 1,000 live births. And that was 18 infant deaths in the Glades from 2017 to 2021. Black women in Palm Beach County experienced 4 times the maternal mortality rate of white women. So we have a disparity. So this is from the March of Dimes. And as you can see, Florida has a D for preterm birth. They give a grade every year and analyze it. And for Palm Beach County, it's just about the same, 8.5%. So that's 1 in 10 babies is born preterm. And those rates are higher for Blacks, especially Haitians in our county. And then, so why do we have these outcomes, these birth outcomes? And we do know that prenatal care reduces maternal morbidity and infant morbidity and mortality. So, and we also can see from this pie chart that about, let's see, hang on, I just had a blank. I think it's about a third, yes. A third of the women in our county don't get adequate prenatal care. So why is that? You can draw the conclusion that if we can improve that statistic and provide adequate prenatal care, we can improve both outcomes for babies and for pregnant women. And then you see that about a little over 6% of families don't have a car. But you guys are really bridging that gap with great opportunities for transportation. But when it comes to maternal and child health, we're still lagging. So let's see. One thing I do want to point out, the community health needs assessment done by, let's see, the Palm Beach County Healthy Start Coalition found that 24% of Belglades residents don't have cars. And so this is sort of the thought behind starting a Green Cars for Kids program in Palm Beach County. So there's a patchwork of areas, but the Glades is really specific because that's a maternity care desert, or it's sort of leaning in that direction. They do provide prenatal care and they do provide pediatric care, but they don't provide, and they can't provide care for high risk maternity patients and for any other specialty pediatric care. So as you know, they need 45 minutes to go in between where Palm Trans serves them in the Glades to that specialty care. And that is at the Rippick Center at St. Mary's for prenatal care and follow-up care afterwards. So they're having trouble getting there. And this is the idea with using Green Cars for Kids for that, that specific patient population. Let's see, I'm just going to go quick because I want to give you guys a chance to ask questions about the program. So we're different than Uber and Lyft. So we and other non-emergency transportation services, we partner with Freebie for our pilot program, and we'll be partnering with them in Miami-Dade County. And so we have car seats, so the parents don't have to worry about that, especially newborns. And our drivers are specially trained by Safe Kids International to install those car seats, so they can also teach the parents how to install those car seats. And we have a video screen in the back. It's an iPad that the March of Dimes, who was our seed funder and is still funding us for a lot of stuff, we can play videos for them for prenatal health videos and also infant health videos. Miami-Dade County is going to be running their heat health information this summer on our iPad, and then we can connect to services in the community like rental assistance or anything, WIC information, things like that. So it's a tie between this vulnerable population and other services in the community. So this is just a picture of the portal that the clinic uses. So Freebie designed this portal for us. When we're talking about software, I thought of this. The maternity concierge can see where our driver is and know how far away she is if she's stuck in traffic, or we have another male driver. And also they can change very last minute. If they find out all of a sudden that a woman gave birth and they didn't realize it, they can put in another rider so that we can really provide as much service as we can to this population. They can book days in advance or change it last minute. Right, so these are just some statistics. About 90% of our riders are Black, 9% are Hispanic, the rest are Asian. And as I said, over 60% prefer Haitian Creole. Our cost per ride, it's come down, as the program, every month, the cost per ride has come down. I expect it as we get even more efficient for it to come down more. It's just under $30 a ride, which I think is pretty comparable. And we add even more than just getting from A to B. So I think you all understand, I know Mayor Reed does, about why electric is better. This study was in 2020 by a friend of mine, Bruce Bakar, and his colleagues, that showed a correlation between prenatal exposure to air pollution and extreme temperatures, heat in particular, and premature birth, low birth weight, and stillborn babies. And they found a higher correlation among Black moms and moms with asthma. And this is just a reminder of why transportation electrification is so important. This is a graph of the 4 counties in Southeast Florida are from the Climate Change Compact, showing that 53% of our greenhouse gas emissions are from transportation. So lots of different ways we can angle in on that. And here are the benefits. $1 billion in public health benefits, 90,000 fewer premature deaths, 2 million fewer asthma attacks, and a lot more people getting to work and paying taxes. So these are just some of the things that we do, and summing it all up. And I just want to leave opportunity for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any public comment?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, lovely. Any comment from the board? I see Ms. Williams. Anyone else? Just put your card up.
Could you use your microphone, please? Thank you.
I am so sorry. I just have a quick question. Thank you so much for that presentation. Really appreciate it. I hope you have cards. I can get a card when you're leaving. Are you in partnership with Healthy Mother, Healthy Beginnings, any of the bridges and the Children's Service Council?
Yes, I've, not in partnership, but we're talking to all of those and they have been really great at helping me pinpoint where to start because there's a lot of need and how to do it, giving me good advice. So yes, and we have half the funding we need for a year's program now. So we're looking for another funder. And any help you guys or suggestions you have, that would be great.
Excellent. Thank you. Vice Chair Dang.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I was wondering for $29 per ride, that's your cost per ride. What's the average distance of that ride? Sorry, I'm very curious about the data because obviously we're very interested because of what your example of someone who could potentially live in Pahokee, the Glades, and traveling all the way to St. Mary's. That is a significant amount of cost. So I'm just curious about cost comparison.
Yeah, that's a problem. And so I'm not quite sure what that's going to end up costing. And I'm going to be speaking with the clinic hopefully next week about what that would look like. But I do know that most of our riders in Broward live within 4 miles or so. And so we're able to provide about, let's see, we've provided about 2,500 rides so far. And we serve about 75 patients a month. So, depending on where they are in their pregnancy, and we do serve some pediatric patients too. So, specific to the Glades, that is a long way. So cost is a factor.
All right. Anybody else at all? Oh, yes.
Really quickly, there's no shared rides on the service, correct? It's all just for the one party that is booking the trip.
Right. So, yeah, there can be shared rides and we've found ways to do this. So at the clinic, they're doing group prenatal care. And a lot of those women come from just down the street. So we've been able, because there's such great communication between the driver and the rider and the scheduler, we do some group rides. And so I would love to get the VW Buzz and have even more riders, because that's the way we're going to cut the cost with Glades. I think that's a really good point. And another thing that we offer that other services don't, we don't charge anything extra to bring a spouse along or both parents or kids, because childcare is a big issue. I don't know if one of the moms up there, she was able to make her appointments because she could bring her daughter with to the clinic. And that's with this population, there are a lot of factors that we help them work with to be able to show up to their appointments and stay out of the delivery room too early.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Any other questions or comments? Oh, Ms. Smith, thank you.
Hi.
Oh, wait, hang on. Don't run away yet. We've got one more.
I have a question. Just like a point for clarification, on the information items, it talks about how this is for free healthcare visits. Would this also apply to visits for like social services? Since I know you mentioned there's WIC ads and like on the screen and stuff like that.
We've already started doing that with the clinic. So the scheduler, we've given them the green light that if they need to, that we've scheduled to dental appointments, WIC. So there are ways we can expand the service to meet all those needs. I know I've talked to plenty of women who have trouble getting to WIC, for example. So yes, I think that is a great way we can, once things get up and rolling, we can make it even better. Love it. Thanks.
All right, don't go away yet. We want to say thank you so much for coming and thank you for what you're doing. Please make sure if you have to go that Brian has your contact information for anybody that would like to reach out to you after this meeting.
I'll stay. I'll stay.
Okay, Brian, do you have anything else at all?
No, thank you,
Okay,
Chair.
and we don't have any other public comments that came in.
No, Madam Chair.
All right, super. So we don't have any other partner agencies that are going to be coming to present today. So I'm excited to invite Michael Corbett, our very own, for the Workforce Development Board update.
Standard government issue clicker.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, my name is Michael Corbett. I'm with CareerSource Palm Beach County, and we did a survey with the BDB. It's not up. There we go. And I really want to share some positive information for the business community. We sent out a survey, and here's all the partners that participated and sent it out. We sent it out in October and November last year, and all the recipients were C-level people. More than 500 people responded to the survey. And here's the industries that were represented. You can see most of it came from Palm Beach County, obviously, a lot of CEOs, C-level people, and a wide variety of industries. That's what's great about Palm Beach County. We have a very diverse business community. So what were their top issues? Besides inflation, they want to recruit. So that shows a very strong job market here across the county. Insurance, healthcare, wages. I found this very interesting that was what their focus was on. How is the health of your business today compared to a year ago? Look at all the positive, somewhat better, much better. Looking ahead, how do you think your business will be in 1 year? Again, very positive responses from these C-level people. Very few negative comments here. Where do they plan to invest their money? The lion's share are in salaries and bonuses. That's very positive news for our community. Marketing, recruitment, technology, benefits, healthcare, training, office space. Again, who would have thought? But again, we're here in Palm Beach County. I have lived here most of my life, and I love our community. I think we just have a great business community. More than half intend to hire new people. That's encouraging. We have a lot of jobs in our community. And look at the types of positions they plan on hiring. Professionals, administrative. It spans the spectrum. So everybody should have a job here in Palm Beach County. All right, the real estate needs will stay about the same. Almost 30% said they would increase. Very few said they will decrease. And as you see here in downtown, we've got buildings going up left, right, and center. And it's not just West Palm Beach. It's Boca Raton, it's Delray, it's Gardens, it's all across the county. And seeing where people are working remotely, hybrid, or fully on site. Very balanced for this year, looking ahead in 2 years. I know we have brought back most of our staff, but some of our staff does work remotely, and probably the same with you folks here in the room. I like this slide. What do you like most about doing business in Palm Beach County? Economic opportunities. How positive is that? Quality of life, business friendly. A lot of my job is helping bring in new companies to Palm Beach County with the BDB. And almost all of them say they're coming here because it's a business friendly community. I can tell you a very quick story. We brought in this logistics company from Chicago. And I was talking with the CEO and I said, sir, why are you moving your business from Chicago? He said, Mr. Corbett, you and Sean are already opening doors for me here in Palm Beach County. In Chicago, they don't care about me. They could care less if I do business there. The taxes, the crime, the unions, the traffic. He said, I am out of there. In the next 18 months, I'm moving my whole company from Chicago to West Palm Beach. And I hear that story quite often. What would make business better in Palm Beach County? Obviously, cheaper real estate. We all would like that. Better traffic and transit. Look at that. That's where we're at here in this room. Better government services, lower taxes, regulation, access to talent, networking, lower insurance, and so on. So I just really wanted to share that with you because it's very positive, but if you want to ask me a question, I'll do my best to answer it.
We needed that. Thank you.
Hi.
Does the board, if you have your card up, that means you have a question. Does anyone have a question, comment, anything otherwise? I don't know. Ms. Williams, is that from
You have a
before? Is
question?
that? Now you have to ask a question though. All right. So, do you guys plan to do another survey like that? And how often are surveys like that accomplished by you? and
Okay, so
EDB?
Kaufman and Rosen, who did the survey, is an accounting firm in Boca,
Mhm.
and they're going to do it every year for the next 3 years. So we'll see what the trends are next year and the year after that. But the whole point is the business climate in this community is incredibly positive. So we should all be very proud of that.
Thank you so much. All right. Would you promise to present this again next year then?
I will.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
All right.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else? Anyone, Lou? No? And no public comment or questions?
No, Madam Chair.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, I apologize. Please go for it. We're going to go back a little bit and Lou is going to give us a partner update.
Yeah, just a quick,
agency.
I just wanted to give a quick update about Palm Tran and everything like that. So in March, we took it was a possible 5-year contract with First Transit. So right now we have 2 providers, MV and First Transit, that provide the service. So Palm Beach County or Palm Tran Connection is the gatekeeper. So we do the eligibility, reservations, we do dispatch, we do scheduling, and we do the contract oversight. But when the actual rubber hits the road, we actually contract to 2 providers right now, MV and First Transit. We provide them with a vehicle, and they are to provide a qualified background check, drug and alcohol check, and trained driver behind a well-maintained vehicle that they maintain. So that's kind of the setup there. So we were bringing a 5-year contract to the Board of County Commissioners. 5-year, $329 million contract is what we brought to the board. It didn't pass. However, the board decided to do another 1-year contract with MV and First Transit and to resolicit it this year. So that's the process that we're going in there. So right now for the next year until May of next year, we're going to have MV and First Transit as our providers, and we'll be looking to see what we can do. Bring in some more technology, bring in different ways to try and make transportation better. And then the other thing I just wanted to bring up, we, as most of you know, we lost our executive director in November. We now have 3 finalists for that position. One visited last week. There's one here right now today, and we'll meet another one, I think, on Thursday or Friday. So it's down to 3 to see, where the agency is going to go in the future. So just wanted to give that quick update.
Oh, those are great. Those are great updates. Thank you so much. Before we close out, does anyone have anything else they want to add or say today? It's a really thorough meeting. I do want to say that you'll see the 2025 calendar in your agenda, but most of all, please, everybody, count on the fact that from mid-April until mid-May, the responsibility of this board is to get on the bus. So if you're going to be looking at the calendar, make sure I have it on my calendar. It sort of repeats from about the 15th of March, April into May. No, it was on my calendar from May 15th until April 15th. It's like ride TD is on my calendar every year because I know that that's going to be our responsibility. So we did okay this year, but 30% I don't think is reflective of what this board can really do. I know even for myself, I was gone for 2 weeks of it for an anniversary trip. I know we had folks who had stuff happen in their family and we send our condolences for that. These things, we can work around them as best as we can, but it's going to take every single one of us on this board to get to that 50% or higher for next year. So that is my gauntlet that I'm throwing out. Let's get over 50% next year. We need to get on that bus. I don't mind personally if you just go for half an hour to an hour. It's enough to get an idea. And if you are worried about where you're going to go or what you're going to do, you can actually take the Palm Tran somewhere and then take Palm Tran Connect home, right? So there's a couple of different ways of getting around and making it happen seamlessly. And I know that our Palm Tran Connect folks will do everything they can to make sure you get where you need to be in the time you need to get there, because we've seen that they can do that. So again, put that on your calendar. And then I also want to thank Margie so much. I wish we could count on your rides. Thank you for taking it to heart, for showing up so much. It's a bittersweet thank you, because we'll miss you. But nonetheless, thank you for all the great work you did. And Brian, thank you for being such a great liaison. You've done a wonderful job for all of us and we
Thank you
appreciate
all.
it.
Thank you.
And Lou, obviously, if you're showing up on a word bubble that turned into a bus, congratulations on people saying you're doing a great job as well. So with that, we're going to adjourn. Our next meeting is scheduled for August 29th, and our vice chair will most likely be running that one. Thank you so much in advance. With that, we're adjourned.